Hello dear student friends. In this series we are discussing now transport of material in the plants. Earlier we have discussed that how water and mineral is transported in the plant. What is the mechanism behind it, that we have discussed. In plants earlier that was a thought that the transport mechanism occurs in the same manner. As in case of water and mineral, the food is also being conducted. But later on the scientists find that the transport of food, that what we call food, is a sugar that is synthesized in the photosynthesis and amino acid and the other substances. They are transported in the plant, especially in the phloem, and therefore this transport of the soluble products from one place to other place, in fact from the place where its concentration is higher, that is we call source, and to the place where it is needed, it is called sink. So the food or the sugar is always transported from the source to the sink. Now how that occurs, what is that mechanism, it's very interesting to understand, and that is the matter we are going to study. Beside the product of photosynthesis, the phloem also transport amino acid and all other substances that are produced in the plant. Especially you know that there are many alkaloids and pigments and flavonoids that are also being produced by the plant. These are transported to this phloem. Now, if the leaf is synthesizing the food is then transported from leaves to the other plants. For example, the roots, if the bud is there, growing region bud, up to the bud. Sometimes storage organ, food is to be stored in storage organs, like the tubers are there, stem tubers in case of potato, where the food is stored. So food is transported from leaves to other part, like storage organ, like roots, like growing buds. But if you just imagine, the plants do not have any leaves. In the fall, that all the plants shed their leaves, many plants of course. At that time, then food is moved from the storage organs in upward direction. And this is the point that we have to understand, that the transport of food takes place in all direction, especially through phloem. Okay, so what is the mechanism, that we have to discuss it. Transport of the food takes place in sieve tubes of the phloem, because sieve tubes are the elements which are you may say empty. Of course they are having cytoplasm, they are having no nucleus, and they are placed end to end upon each other, and they are forming a continuous strand from the leaves to the other part. So these are the sieve tubes, and adjacent to the sieve tubes are companion cells. These are helping to feed the sugar into the sieve tube, that we are going to discuss it later. And these are the sieve tubes which are actually the transporting element that transport the food material. In case of conduction of water and mineral, no energy was needed, but the transport of food is energy consuming process, it is active process, and therefore it is achieved by utilizing energy, utilizing the ATP energy. So sucrose is then transport to the phloem. This loading of the sucrose need energy, ATP energy. The leaves in the mesophyll cell, by the process of photosynthesis, when the sucrose is synthesized, glucose is synthesized, it is loaded, it is to be loaded into the phloem, where the ATP energy is utilized. Now what happens in that is the mechanism, very interesting mechanism we are going to discuss in the next diagram. So this is the beautiful diagram where you have to understand. Here can you see some of the aspect here. It is a leaf, it is a growing bud, it is the root. Now what is the source here? It is the leaf. Leaf is said to be the source where the food is synthesized. We have to understand, friends, this mechanism very properly. Many times we get confused of this, and therefore I am explaining it very slowly. So this is the source here. In the process of photosynthesis, what happens? The mesophyll cells produce sucrose. Here is another interesting diagram you have to understand. From the leaves, this is a companion cell, and this is a sieve tube, another sieve tube, sieve tube, sieve tube. Why it is called sieve tube? Because at the cross boundary it is having perforation, sieves, sieve plates, and therefore it is called a sieve tube. Now the companion cell which are always adjacent to this, they get sugar from adjacent mesophyll cell which are synthesizing that. This sucrose is then loaded into the CO2 with the help of this companion cell. These companion cells are having adjacent perforation. They are called as plasmodesmata, and from that this sucrose is then fed into this CO2. What happens then? Because of that sucrose, the inner concentration of sap, it increases tremendously. Tremendous increase in that. As a result, the tracheids and vessels which are adjacent to this phloem that are conducting water, this water from hypotonic solution move to the hypertonic solution of sieve tube. Okay, so when water rush into this sieve tube, a kind of pressure is developed in this region. As a result, due to that pressure, then food is transported to the region where the pressure is low. And what is that low pressure area? For example, here it is root, because the root cells are constantly utilizing that sucrose or sugar, and therefore they are always deficient with the sucrose, and therefore the sugar which is fed, which is loaded into the sieve tube of the phloem of the leaves, it is then transported in downward direction. Okay. Similarly, the growing bud, it is a continuously dividing and redividing cells. It is producing new tissues, producing new organs like the buds, leaves, and so. And therefore here also there is a continuous need of the food, and therefore it is called as a sink. Sink is the area where the food is needed to be supplied. Okay, here it is a sink, root is a sink, and here then from the similar manner, from the sieve tube, this food is transported in upward direction and it is supplied to the growing region of this particular branch, and then to the upward side, and so. So this is a very simple mechanism. Once again, we have to understand that the food, that is sucrose, amino acid, some other substances being produced in the leaves, it is then loaded into the sieve tubes by the companion cell with the help of companion cell. As the sucrose increases in the sieve tube, the concentration of the sap increases. As a result, water from adjacent xylem rushes into the sieve tube. As a result, a kind of pressure is developed here in the source region, and because of that, this material is transported through sieve tube to the area where the pressure is low. The pressure low area is said to be the sink area. Here it could be the growing bud, it could be the root, and therefore in this way the food is transported through the sieve tube of the phloem from the area of high pressure to the area of low pressure, from the area of source to the area of sink, okay, in a definite manner. But during this loading of the sugar from the companion cell to the sieve tube, and even from mesophyll cell to the companion cell, the kind of energy is utilized, ATP energy is utilized, and therefore this process is called as active process. It takes place by the utilization of energy. So this is all about the mechanism of the transport of the food that we have to explain in our examination. We have to draw these diagrams and we have to explain. If you like this video, please subscribe this channel, you share with your friends, comment and ask me the questions. For your kind support and your watching, I say thank you very much. We'll meet once again with another video on another topic. Till then, goodbye. Thank you very much.